but today we're going to work on layering. I have a brand new mannequin, so there's no point in doing a pixie on her straight away. We'll work down to that, but it's got a fresh mannequin from Pivot Point, and we're going to work two variations. I'm going to work triangular long concave layers, and I'm going to work round concave layers on the other side, so we can see a little difference between the two. Section wise, what I've done on the left side here, I've sectioned from the apex, which is the top of the head, and I've followed that ridge. So when you put your comb against the head, you'll see that it will actually touch the head shape all the way down until this spot. So that's an actual round of the head this way. It's a ridge to it. So I've followed that. So that's the left side. And then on the right side, I've sectioned a little bit further back into the crown. So there's the apex, the other side. And then on this side, we're a little bit further back into the round of the crown. This side's going to be triangular. The other side's going to be round. So obviously I can't film and cut at the same time. Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Kelly's joining us. So yeah, welcome. Let's get started. Let's do some stuff.
Do some haircuts.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions at any time, just like normal, please ask. Kelly will only get the good ones and ask them for me. Okay, so make sure they're awesome. But yeah, no, if you want to learn anything, you want to know anything, please feel free to ask. Again, KDF Live is a weekly series of free haircutting tutorials. So this is for you guys, from us. We do it every week, and it goes onto my IGTV, so you can watch all of these tutorials. They don't get taken down or anything like that. And yeah, so let's get on with this week's. So like I said, I've sectioned the mannequin, and obviously I'm going to do something different on this side to this side. We're going to be in the same family. We're going to work with concave layering. Right, so we're going to be using an elevation above 90 degrees, whereas this is 90, that would be a convex layer that follows the head shape vertically. In this instance, we're going to be working in more of an elevation up towards the ceiling instead of maybe down through the sides and elevating a little bit to keep this length. We're going to be using a lot more elevation, so proper full-on concave layering. But there are two distributions of weight that move from back to front, front to back. And they oppose each other. So one shape is round, and that means it gets darker. That's awesome. It's lighter up front and it's darker in the back. No, it's lighter up front, it's heavier in the back, okay? So it creates a more rounded shape through there. It descends from front to back. And then triangular is the opposite. It's lighter in the back, heavier in the front, and so the distribution of weight pushes forward. So these different balances. So one side we're going to go back off the face, and one side we're going to go forward onto the face. Pretty simple as to why you would do one or the other. One's going to open up the face, one's going to close the face. One's going to have more of a face frame through the front, one's not. All right, so that's another factor in the two different variations. So let's get started. I want to keep the length. So I want to protect the length that's on this mannequin, so I'm not going to come through and cut an outline length to begin with. I want the outline to be softer. I don't want it to be a very solid, strong outline. I'm not looking for that bob kind of a feeling. Think about this, lines swing back and forth, right? So layers, they're a removal of weight, so they have that tendency to bounce, right? Graduation doesn't bounce, it's earthquake proof, right? It swings back and forth, right? Just like the line would do. So if I put a harsh line in there, I will limit what kind of movement I have on the inside, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the layer first, and I'm going to work to the outline, right? So something a little different. A lot of us are conditioned to put the length in, but then we establish this really strong line. You look at people's long hair now, there isn't really a solid line. It's all soft and broken up. We're using wands and curling irons to break up solid outlines, so there's no point in me putting that in there. So just thinking of how we wear hair. If we were wearing solid outlines like it was 1999 and 2000, then that's what I would do first. Cool. Mm-hmm. All right, where's my water supply?
Oh.
Right there. Oh, yeah, right there, thank you.
Oh, I was hiding it.
No, I knew it was there, I just forgot. So we'll start in the back. This is a triangular balance. So what that means, it's going to be lighter in the back. It's going to get heavier towards the front. All right. What that does is it closes in the face. All right. But also what it does is it lifts this back area so that you get body and volume. You can blow dry and get the movement that you need in there. And this side does the opposite. It leaves it heavier in the back. So it's harder to get volume in the back area, but you get a lot of action in the front. So to do this, we're going to start on the interior. So the first place that I'm going to start is this crown area. I'm going to remove the weight first. So I'm going to establish the layer first, and then I'm going to work to the outline from that. If I work from my outline, it limits what I do on the inside. If I work with the layer, I take care of that straight away. So I'm going to work from the occipital, and I'm going to follow that natural ridge, all the way down, and section away the underneath from the crown area. So around about there, and that follows that natural round of the head shape. That round of your head shape, guys, is what becomes your jawline. So working with head shape all the time, very important. Don't put generic things on top of this head shape and expect it to work. You've got to work with it. So that sections away the crown area. And what I'm going to do, grab another clip.
And flip it around too.
Yeah, so that you get the light better.
Better light, yeah.
I'm going to be stood here anyway.
Okay.
And what I'm now going to do is I'm not going to do anything with this to begin with. This will be the second area that I work. So I'm going to clip that out of the way so it's not in the way. Mm-hmm. Right. So now I'm going to go into the interior. So if you can see the sectioning, it naturally is working with that triangular balance of the bone structure and the head shape. See, what you have to realize, if you analyze the bone structure, you'll notice that the jawline is actually angled with that triangular balance. And so is the cheekbone, so is the nose, the lip, the chin, even that neckline into the collarbone area through here. It's all very complementary, even like from the eye socket here as well. And we're all like that. We've all got that complement, that shape to work with triangular. So that's why triangular shapes look really, really good. Round is abstract. So it's going to open up the face. It works against your face shape. So if the face shape isn't that great, don't be doing round. Do you know what I mean? And one of the first rules I learned and was told was don't put round on round. And it makes perfect sense because, you know, how I look at it, this opening and closing, it's almost like picture yourself at your house, right? And you live street level and you live just like our salon. There's people that walk by all day long, right? And they can see through our window, right? When those blinds are open, everyone can see how clean or how messy this place is. So if I work a round shape, everyone can see how big my cheeks are, my cheekbones are. They can see all my chins and all that kind of stuff. So you've got to start thinking about what's going to counteract that. That's what triangular shape is going to do for me. So that's why I'm going to show you this. So the first place to start is to start in the crown area. Working with vertical sections, which makes perfect sense. Vertical sections always have a tendency to remove weight and make whatever you see vertical flatter because you're physically cutting through that dimension. All right, so body position. I'm going to work on the outside of my fingers, outside of my hands, and that would enable me to use a higher elevation as I move through. Whereas if I work on the inside of my hands, the swing is to pull down. It's not to pull up, it's to naturally pull down. So working on the outside of my fingers, fingertips pointed down so I can work from the bottom up. Then I've got way more control over the line that I cut. If I work from the top down, I'll probably cut concave. That means shorter here, longer down here, right? Completely different layer than what I want to achieve right now. I actually want to follow the head shape through here. So there's an element of convex right now because of that. So working on the outside of the fingertips pointed down, my feet are parallel to what I'm doing, right? So if I move this foot, this right foot, then it will change everything I do. Because now I will pull the hair over here. So I want to pull it straight out from the head shape, so it must be parallel to it. So there's a a regular comb length there. I'm going to go a bit longer than that. Take away quite a bit of weight on the inside, but not too much. And I cut a line that's going to follow the curvature of the head shape. So I'm going to pull everything 90 degrees straight out from the head and make sure that I don't leave any excess weight. So if I was to pull this hair down and just pull it straight to this wall, I'm going to leave that weight there. That weight's then going to fall down and make this flick quite a lot. You're going to have a weight line, all right? So I don't want that. I want it to be nice and fluid, so I'm making sure that it's actually all the same throughout. And now, what I'm seeing as these layers fall, I'm going to see much more dimension and shape in the back than what I'm going to see on the other side, because I've actually taken that weight away now. So when I hit this with a round brush or whatever brush, I will get volume and I will get lift if I want it. Whereas if on the round shape, it's going to be heavier in the back, it's going to be a lot more work to try and get anything going on in there. So, how are we doing?
We're good. Yeah, lots of hearts.
Cool. Mm-hmm. So moving on to my next section. So guys, now what we have to think about is what's going to happen this way, horizontally, within the haircut. So what happens to this dimension of the haircut? So I have options here. I can pull everything into number one. That will make it its heaviest drop off towards the front, right? That's too heavy. That's too aggressive. So I won't be pulling everything into the middle. The least amount of over direction is to move into the previous. So 2 goes into 1, then 3 will go into 2, 4 into 3. So you're just pulling back into the previous. It's definitely going to get heavier towards the front, but what's going to happen is it's going to take me past this. If I go past that, I endanger losing a lot of this in here, because the hairline jumps up and comes around the ear. So there's less hair, obviously, because there's no hair here, whereas in the back we have that. So my over direction is going to be within that window. So the round of the head's there. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull everything straight back. Not into the middle, just straight back off the head. So everything is going that way towards that wall behind the mannequin head. So I'm not going to pull it in, I'm going to send everything straight back. It's just like pulling everything straight up to the ceiling. I'm not pulling everything into the middle. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do the same thing back there.
There's this question, are these vertical sections going to create visible texture?
Anytime that you layer, you're going to see visible texture because you're removing weight.
Yeah.
So whether you cut it with horizontal section, remove the weight, or vertical, it's still going to create a texture. The difference between working horizontal sections and vertical sections is the vertical will always have a tendency to remove weight, whereas horizontal sectioning will always have the tendency to build weight.
When having that weight pulls down any natural texture, right? Like when the hair is heavier, it just...
Exactly, you're avoiding texture, you're suppressing it because you're leaving length and weight. Gravity will pull that down and make it straighter.
Right.
Yeah. So this immediately just frees up texture, wave. Let's call it that.
Yeah,
wave.
yeah, it's a
'Cause
wave.
I think people get really like with the texture word.
Yeah.
Everybody is texture, aren't they? Like I have texture.
Right.
Even if my hair's straight, it's a straight texture.
It's like Conan today. Right, and even straight is a texture.
Exactly. Straight hair is a texture of hair.
Yeah.
So anytime you remove weight, it will loosen, it will lighten, and if there's any, amount of wave or curl in that hair, it will be encouraged to do that.
Right. Okay, so a recap, what is the goal of doing layers this way?
Okay, so I'm working in triangular layered shape. So the goal is that it's lighter in the back and it's heavier in the front. What I'm doing is I'm working smarter, not harder. I'm actually taking care of the weight first and then working to my outline. If I work my outline, I'm limited as to what I do on the inside because I've just created a strong outline. I don't want a strong outline. This is not a bob. Mm-hmm. Long hair should be softer so that it moves more. The more you put a line in it, the more you restrict it and you make it swing back and forth. That's what lines do. That's what graduation does. Mm-hmm. Layers are supposed to do this, supposed to move with you. It's like an octopus. Yeah. Right? So I'm leaving the outline until last. I'm working from the inside out. Again, all this is possible when you can understand the what, the why, the how, and the when behind haircutting. You're able to do things in a different manner than maybe what you've been taught. You're starting to learn more about the craft of haircutting. You know, the more that you understand that haircutting is literally to pull away from what you want to keep, then it starts to make things so much easier to do because you know where you need to start and you know where you need to end. It's very simple. I'm pulling away from what I want to keep, so I start in the back. I'm pulling everything straight back to that wall behind the mannequin's head. Keeping my feet parallel so that it actually goes straight back. So if I move this foot, I'm not in a position to send it straight back. I have to then overthink things and go, make sure that's going straight back. And now I might be going over towards you guys. I don't know because I'm stood over here. But if I'm stood here, I know that it's going to do this. It's going to do that. It's going to do that. But if I switch the foot, now it's doing this. Now it's doing it. Common sense, right?
Yeah, you can't see what you're doing.
Thing.
Yeah.
These things control everything.
The whole thing.
Yeah. So I pulled everything straight back and now I can see, if I let that fall, how that weight goes from lighter in the back to heavier in the front, and it's opened up this wavy texture that this mannequin has. So now that that's done, I can now connect to my existing length that I want to protect, right? But the thing is, I can't work from here. The reason being, if I stand here still, I'm now working from my outline to that layer. So whatever I cut here, when I stop there, I'm going to create a corner. There's no fluidity to this position that I'm stood in. So I will not stand here. It will not give me a really nice fluid layer. It's practically impossible to do that by working this way, and I might cut that shorter.
Yeah.
Right? So what I really need to do, again, is work a bit smarter with this. Turn her around, stand on the opposite side now, and now I can let the elbow control where that length is. So I can pull the hair straight off the head again. But you see now my elbow will determine what that length is. So if she was like Kardashian length, right, down here, then I would have to use my elbow to protect that. It's that simple. It's just like when you work like this. Short to long.
Right.
I'm going to do that here now. This is the top of the head. Think of it like that. So I'll now lift this straight up and I will connect. Obviously, we're not going to have her lay down first, so you have to stand in a position to do that.
We could try it on a model and get a lot of likes on
Someone
Instagram. Did they?
Someone put someone in a massage bed.
Oh my gosh.
And did a technique that I told them about, like the one where I did a graduated bob from here.
Oh, right.
So they had the person lay down and they just did the graduated bob like it was, they were in the back, right? And they got their round concave mullet layer.
Yeah, yeah.
Pull away from what you want to keep.
That's it.
So I've connected into my outline length. Let's get some water. That's
dry.
So what the objective is to protect the length as much as possible. What's up?
Haircut plus massage.
Yeah. Sounds dodgy, that to me.
Yeah. Also,
I'll let that happen in the shampoo bowl.
hello from Liverpool, Nebraska,
What's up, Liverpool?
Argentina, and Greece.
What's up, Argentina?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
What's really amazing about us doing this is the fact that we are able to connect with everybody all around the world. I want to say congratulations to our friends in the UK who are back to doing hair in salons today, especially in England. I think Scotland was last week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome. Obviously, I'm English. I've got a lot of family that are actually in this industry over there, so it's really nice that they're able to get back to work. So everything's going straight back just like it was before, and all I've done is connected whatever reaches in, and I'm able to keep the length.
All the length.
Yeah.
But it's nice about this technique too, like when you're doing it with the client who doesn't want to lose any length, but they want all that volume, right?
Exactly, all that space.
You show them like how you're pinning that all away, and you don't even touch it until the very end. They can see how mindful that you being with their length that they're wanting to preserve, especially in California.
For sure.
Everybody with their long hair.
It's illegal to cut long hair off.
It's
Very illegal. I have to have a court order, a warrant.
2 witnesses. Yeah.
So what's happened now, guys, with that convex that I've created, see, what I didn't do is I didn't create a convex that went below the round of the head. If I'd have done that, then we'd have this situation going on. And that's a divot, an internal corner. Not that kind of corner, a crater, right? So by sectioning at the top part of the round of the head, when I join the underneath, and it's enabled me to turn a convex into a concave. Without me cutting through this too much, I'm able to do that and take that all the way through. So I've not skinnied that through like a traditional concave layer. So as you see now, I'll turn it this way, you'll see much better. Now we've got shape and dimension in there. So you see where those layers fall. See, all of that would have been full, dense.
Right.
Phone book of density in this area. So getting anything in here with layer or movement would be hard.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about connecting to the top, the front. We'll work from here. 2 options.
Any visits to London?
I would imagine, yes, that will be on the horizons for sure.
And there's a request for us to go to New York as well.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen as well. I'm starting to travel in the next few weeks. I will be in Minneapolis at the beginning of May. I'm starting to book up classes now, so if you're interested in having me out to your salon or any of us to come teach, you want to come here, we're doing classes here now. Our first one's July 11th coming up. Tickets go on sale this week, so save that date. Only 7 spaces available in that, and that's here in San Diego. And yes, like I said, I'm out there on the road again soon, so yeah, if you want to book us, contact us, and we'd love to come and teach for you guys.
Yes, we would.
So options as to joining this into this. 2 options. I can work with vertical sections moving through to the front, and I could pull them back so that we can maintain this triangular shape, getting longer and heavier towards the front. The setback from that, or the negative to doing it that way, is there's only so much space from your guide, which is here, to there. And actually we want to say it's there, isn't it? Because this area is a rescission area. So it's really from the apex, area into that. So one of the worst situations, and I'm sure lots of you may have been in this situation, you're pulling the hair back and you get to that round of the head, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we say shit over it.
Yeah.
Right? And that means, oops, it's too short. So because of that, the reason for that is there's only so much real estate for you to pull this back. It will only get so long. What if you wanted it longer? So then you'd have to switch it. You work this way. So kind of like what I did in the back, I'm now going to do through here. I'm going to work from this point, And I'm going to work from fingertips to knuckles, and I'm going to get longer, just like I did through here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same situation in the front than it is in the back. Whereas I was pulling back to that wall, I'm now going to be pulling back to that wall up to the ceiling, all the way.
The ceiling wall.
The ceiling wall.
Yeah.
That's a wall as well.
It is.
So we'll work this way so I can actually work to a longer length if I want. I have way more control with the elbow than I would if I over-directed. So that's the reason why I choose this way.
So there's two questions here. Do you use this layering technique on tighter curl patterns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to know that when you cut tighter curl patterns, whatever you cut, you see it three-dimensionally. So if you cut a box, you see a box. If you cut a triangle, you see a triangle. If you cut a circle, you see a circle. So you got to be aware of that. The looser the curl is, the less that happens. The less out here it is. But this, whatever I would cut on curly hair, I'm going to see this fall. So you're going to see it lighter and that. You know, maybe on curly hair, I'll probably take this in a bit more, not so concave. I don't find concave looks fantastic on tight curly hair.
Agreed.
Convex layers or graduation, I think are amazing on super tight, like your hair, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Curly. Kelly.
Curly Kelly. And then if we use this approach with very long hair, we will get a disconnect.
No.
Is a question.
No
so
disconnect.
no, yeah, it's not disconnected
There's no
at all.
disconnection, everything's connected. If you do this on longer hair, you just go longer. You know what I mean? You've
Right.
got to be in control of where do you want that layer to fall, where do you want it to be. You know, and that's why I choose to go this way, because guess what a client does when they sit in your chair? They tell you how long they want that layer and how many they want.
Where, yeah.
I want 6 layers. And I want them to start here, right? Okay, well I cut the layer first, it starts there. Done. Instead of doing it here and then trying to figure out where's that going to be, and you're limited because you're trying to protect that.
Right.
Start on the inside, work out.
Yeah.
And if you want to protect outline and keep the strength and stability of an outline, like a bob, you start with that first and then you work on the inside, so you work outside in. Keeping going.
Yes.
Straight up to the ceiling. So you can see how that's being elevated up from the scalp. And I'm going from short to long. I'm keeping that balance of triangular. So I'm keeping it nice and fluid all the way through. Now, key thing here is, what if you can't reach it? I'm 6 foot tall. This is my limit. If I do that. If I'm all about the elbow, which a lot of us are, because that's how we're conditioned, but I can only get my elbow so far up in the air, can't I? So if you're on the shorter side than I am, then this is going to be difficult, and you're going to be doing this all day long. Oh yeah, let's cut them down here. Come a bit over here instead. Right? So you see people do that, so you do it. Right? We're copycats, that's all we do. Creatures of habit, that's what we are into doing. But the thing is I do not lock the hair when I put my fingers around it. I'm gently holding the hair in place, because I don't want to use too much tension. I don't want to pull it out from the scalp. I don't want to shift the scalp. Do you know what I mean? Some people have some give.
That's what I said.
Right.
Like an older clientele, when you pull on it too tight, you
yeah,
give them a little
through the
facelift.
ceiling with it. The kneecaps will go up here. You know what I mean? Major surgery. So you got to be careful. So you keep it nice and steady. Now here's the thing: drop the elbow. See, if I keep the elbow there, I'm stuck. I have no other option. I can't go any higher. But if I drop the elbow, I can now go even higher up. See, that's such a great trick, that. So we're all about, I can't reach it, so let me drop it, lose the tension. No, keep your tension and use elevation for what it's for, right? To pull away from what you want to keep. All you have to do is drop the elbow. And I can now go up way higher. All the way up to there, because they can both reach.
Yeah. Well, and it's so much better for your body too, right?
Yeah, for sure. You got to keep that in mind. Is protect the body. So everything's coming up to the ceiling. Just got to get some moisture in there.
Mist.
Yeah, it's a light mist. So we're moving down into below the round of the head. All I'm doing is just lifting straight up, guys. Straight up to the ceiling. To the round of the head and up to the ceiling. And there's my guide.
Straight up.
Constantly using the mirror to see what's happening. You have to use the mirror to see everything. If you don't use the mirror, you're actually cutting two-dimensional. You can expect things to be off and uneven by doing that. But if you use your mirror, you're then seeing every aspect of it.
Lots of love, great tips, great teacher.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we let that fall. Now nothing has been done with the outline. So whatever I cut, the natural outline or the natural hairline will show in my outline, in this perimeter length through here. And if you think about what naturally happens, guys, with your hairline, is it comes up and down, stops there and goes across, right? So when we look at this as it falls now, nothing's been done with the outline. It's all internal. So in actuality, I've just done the most, what's the word? Complementary or working with the natural structure of the body, because what's happening is it's actually coming up through here and then coming down again. So there's almost this gap right here.
Can we turn it with the white background? You might get a better view.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there. That's better.
So what's happening is it's actually a little bit weaker in here. Mm-hmm. That's this hairline that does that. And you know why? Because there's a shoulder that goes right there. To me, that's all about suitability and understanding suitability. So if I come in now and I put a harsh outline on this, we're not allowing for shoulder whatsoever.
Right.
Whereas with this, I'm allowing for shoulder. So whatever sits in front, whatever sits over it, and what sits behind it. To me, it's there for a reason, obviously. And that's what it's there for, because there's something there. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to work with that, I'm going to keep that. If this was a bob, it would be above the shoulder. So we wouldn't be leaving any hole in there, would we? We don't need it. So I'd come through it and I'd pop my outline in first if I was doing a bob with layers. This is not a bob with layers, it's not a layered bob, it's just layers. And my outline is the heaviest part because it's concave. So I've kept the length of the mannequin in the right spots.
It's interesting how much focus goes on filling that hole
Yeah.
in a bob.
But in a bob, it lives above it.
Right.
Once you go, you've got to allow for this. People always ask me, what do you do about the shoulder? Nothing. It's going to be there. You can't do something special for it all the time. You're going to move around, it's going to move around this. It's never just going to stop in one place. So, yes, it's going to be balanced in this stuck position. If you're going to be like that, and you're going to be like that all day, it's definitely not going to be balanced. But chances are you're going to be like this.
Right.
Right? So don't be searching for balance with this over here and this one over here, because nobody walks around like that. So, yeah. So that's triangular. So a little cross check just to make sure. So if I check the layers through the front, I'm going to elevate them up to the ceiling. I'm going to check the opposite dimension. So I cut it this way, which is horizontally, and now check vertically. And I bring it up to the ceiling and see exactly what I did, and I can see my layer. So now, let's do this side. Let's do the opposite. So this pushes forward. It actually covers the face. So it makes the face on the narrower side because it's put the weight in there. Round's going to do this. It's going to open it up. So we'll do this side now.
Okay.
I love teaching this. This is how I start my Knowledge Destroys Fear hands-on classes. Obviously, you have to start on longer and you go to shorter. We get quite a lot of haircuts done in a day in those classes. But this is how we start. We start with these two particular haircuts and then we move into obviously different areas and zones. But the aim of a Knowledge Destroys Fear class is to actually teach you all of that, which is theory. That's like the science of haircutting.
It's the gold right there.
Yeah, it is the gold, right?
Yeah.
But in haircuts. So stuff that you're going to do every single day in the salon, things that you like to cut. So not doing them in like old cheesy 80s and 70s haircuts, doing them in haircuts that we do now. Long layers, shags, blade bobs, French bobs, pixies, mullets, all that kind of stuff, right? They're all those things. So that's what we teach in our hands-on classes. It's obviously what we teach in our KDF Lives as well. So before I start on this side, what I need to do is I need to make sure that I always know where the apex is. So I'm actually going to section this other side off exactly the same. And that's going to allow us to keep an eye on where the apex is. Sounds good.
It's just drilling.
Laying concrete. So what we're going to do is we're going to create round concave layers, right? The kind of go-to version is to just work horizontal sections all the way through, lift everything up to the ceiling and cut short to long. It's kind of the opposite to what I just did here. I lifted everything up to the ceiling and I cut short to long that way. So I could do that through here. But what that doesn't do for me is it doesn't give me any fluidity of round. Right? It's just this generic thing I put over the top. It's different to triangle, right? Mm-hmm. Round is round, right? It's a fluid shape, right? So round is radial. So for me to make a round line, I need to pivot off this spot right here, just like a clock. Mm-hmm. So that creates a circular shape. So if I pivot my sections, what's happening this way? I'm creating a round shape. Now if I follow the head shape, it's going to be head shape. Don't think that this head shape is a perfect round object. It's its own form of shape. Do you know what I mean? It's head shape, and everyone's got a similar pattern, but they're all very different. Mm-hmm. So for me to put a proper, clean, round shape over it, I have to do something. I have to overdirect slightly forward so that the balance of weight from front to back drops. That's a round shape in hair cutting. So it's actually slightly lighter and shorter at the front, and it gets heavier in the back because of the forward over direction, and that's what creates this. If you don't want any of get longer, that's what square shapes are for. And I think, didn't we do square layers a few weeks back? I did that, yeah. All right, let's do this. So we're going to use the length of the apex from the opposite side. That will allow me to see the difference between the two. So I'll use that as my guide when I cut into this now. So my first section is from the apex. So it pivots. So that means it's narrower at the apex, gets wider towards the base of the section, trying to keep that in this region of the head shape, about the size of my fingers. Obviously, as it gets towards the bottom, it's going to get wider and wider, but I won't really be cutting any of that. I'm cutting what's up here. Concave, so I want to protect what's down here. So 90 degrees, that's straight out from the head shape. So straight out, not up to the ceiling. If I do that, that's going to take this shorter and leave that longer. So that's not round. That's more like this side.
Right.
So for me to make it round, I need to go 90 straight out from the head. And I use my piece from the other side at the apex. And I'm going to cut a line that follows the head shape. So from that spot right there, we're going to go downhill. I'm following this. So whatever line you see there, guys, that's what my fingers are going to do. Why am I doing that? Because it works with that person's head shape. And I would say pretty much always do that, because that's how it's going to fall. It's going to fall on this part of the cranium. So I'm copying that part of the head shape. And everything is individually theirs. So if you're cutting to follow each person, you're cutting to actually make it fit with their head shape. If you're just lifting up to the ceiling, cutting whatever round line, don't expect it to fall and fit on that person's head.
Right.
You'd have to come and do stuff to it. Whereas this, I'm working with her head shape absolutely immediately. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move and start to pivot around. So my second section again is going to from the pivot point, and now it comes out. It's pivoting around. So remember, it needs to get heavier towards the back for it to be round. So I'm going to push number 2 into number 1. So that's not really over direction, that's elevation. All right, this section I have is more of a horizontal section. So horizontal sections, when you move them, that's elevation, it's not over direction. And I'm bringing number 2 into 1. So the exact same spot where number 1 was cut, number 2 and number 1 are going into that. That immediately makes 2 longer and heavier than number 1. So I'm immediately starting to create what's known as a concave layer. So by pushing 2 into 1, it's starting to do this.
These insights are gold mines. Who's drilling? And then they said, you're drilling into the earth with these gray haircuts.
That's awesome. We're drilling into the world. So section number 3 and number 2. So number 2 is now going to come straight off the head. And I'm going to push number 3 into number 2. So I'm working into the previous section. So the mirror here is massive, right? You guys are the mirror right now. That's where my mirror would be, and I'd be looking in the mirror to make sure that this is going into that. Because I'm stood looking at the way I'm elevating this way and the way I'm actually seeing that line. So I can't see my elevation, I can only see the direction and my cutting line. So that's what mirrors are for, monitors. You can see this being pushed into. Always look in the mirror before you even open close these. That's a good safety thing. So look what's happening. Just in those 3 sections, we can see our face frame starting. So let's say she's like, I wanted to start at the chin. Then you'd have to make sure that that first section, when it falls at the chin. I wouldn't naturally recommend that. That's so like late 90s, early 2000s. Everyone had like this triangle missing here. So yeah, let's keep going. So let's just take the previous section. Get my next one.
Now, all these videos will be saved on the IGTV.
Yeah, everything goes on.
Oh.
Everything goes on my IGTV after. So all the free education is in my IGTV if you don't watch it live. So you'll be able to catch this. Into the previous. So I'm pivoting around, so you can see now my body position is over here. I'm not facing that way. So again, really what we're teaching you is how to ride a bike
And then, how can we get our hand on the theory on the whiteboard?
Okay, so the theory is it's a class. I'm actually teaching the class that is this on May the 10th, which is known as the stress fear theory. It's about a 2-3 hour class. And it's me taking you throughout everything about the science of haircut, the intricacies of movements. So I'm not necessarily teaching you haircuts, more of the bits inside the haircuts, like what's elevation, what's overcorrection, different sectionings and all that kind of stuff. Basically, the nuts and bolts that you would need to know.
All of that.
So you can join that. That's the link for that is on my profile on my bio. You can just click on the link tree there. It's KDF Theory on May the 10th. Everybody gets a recording of it, so if you don't watch it live, I send you the video anyway. So it's $50, which I think is a bargain.
That's a
We're
steal.
doing and this year you can expect to see a KDF Theory coming out, digital book as well as a physical book. So basically my madness and all that.
All that.
All
Pages.
I love breaking haircut down. I've done it my entire career. And that's kind of like why you know who I am. Is just breaking haircut down and trying to make it easy and simple for everybody to understand, to make it a more common knowledge. So I'm continuing working through, guys, just pivoting around, just like I did in the front, and I'm over-directing forward into my previous section. So my body position is pivoting around under the hair as well. I really like this variation because it is a true round layer because of the pivot factor. You can make something heavier in the back easily without doing this. But it's not really that, it's the fluidity of section number 1 all the way connected to section number 1 at the back. And that is something in itself.
Well, yeah, I think the fluidity of it, as opposed to just pulling everything all forward, and then you get such a huge drop off in the back.
It's like you're wearing a backpack.
Yeah.
So heavy. Not up here, just pull back there. And then you have to think, you throw all that back there, what's it doing to this area?
Yeah.
That area needs to be more like this. Natural, so that we don't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Everybody's very excited about your book.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nerds. I love it. Fellow hair nerds. That's cool.
yeah, if you pull up the hair and you're looking and you can't figure out where you're gonna cut, like don't guess.
Some people do.
Oh my gosh.
Because they're afraid of when the teacher or whoever comes along and looks that they're going to get in trouble. You're getting way more trouble if you start cutting holes in your hair.
Yes.
Well, there's a few people that think industry specialists too, so. Set yourself up for success. Yeah, I have a charity thing I'm doing in a few weeks, I guess, in Las Vegas. 16th of May in Las Vegas. I'll post on my page about that, a little bit more information. Yeah, then we have a theory class. Obviously, we have our video series, Knowledge Destroys video series. There's Knowledge Destroys Theory 1 and 2. We also have the Classics series. My favorite is Knowledge Destroys Theory 2 because it literally covers all of that.
Yeah.
It's like my hands-on class, but in virtual video format, multi-cameras, and about 11 tutorials on that. You get that for $175, which is amazing. And you get lifetime access. So those are the options, and again, there's all the free stuff on IGTV.
And you're preserving all of that length too as you're going